Hey y'all, it's your girl Simone. Welcome back to my channel. If y'all can see by the title, today is another story time. So before we get into this video, y'all already know what to do. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, give a girl a thumbs up and comment down below. Y'all, I'm looking a mess. That's because that don't even matter. But anyway, yeah, don't forget to follow me on all my social medias, Instagram at Vivalayoshii, TikTok and Twitter at LifeWithSymone. So y'all, today's story time is about Joe and Toxic, both of them. So I don't know if y'all remember a story time I did like a long time ago, and it was called, dang, I don't think about it, it's probably like a year ago, and it was called like my boyfriend was messing with my friend or something like that, and I was doing like many story times in between. I was like leading up to how I should have been paying attention to like red flags about how they end up messing with each other. But yeah, so this story is one of those story times that I spoke on a little bit in that story. So this story took place back when I was in high school, of course, or whatever. So this one I lived in Rialto, and on the weekends I used to come to LA. But my mom, she was kind of getting tired of bringing me back and forth, so she started doing this thing like she would tell me like, okay, you could go, but you got to take the Amtrak train there. And y'all, jokes on her, because I was like, okay, I hated that ride. It was a long ride, but it's like the Amtrak is different from the Metro, so it's like more comfortable. If you rode it, you know the difference or whatever. So I used to just be like, all right, I'm gonna do it. So this one weekend, before the weekend came, Toxic hit me up and she's like, what you doing this weekend? So I'm like, nothing, I'm trying to get to LA. Like, you know of any parties? Like, you heard about anything? So she like, no, you trying to have a slumber party? So I'm like, okay, like, I'll come out there. Like, you trying to like spend night at my grandma's house or whatever? So she like, no. And she said her cousin, we not gonna give her cousin name because she don't need a name. She was like, her cousin, well, her mom, her auntie, let's just say her auntie because it make more sense. She was like, her auntie is going out of town and her cousin gonna have a house to herself. So she was like, yeah. So she said that we could spend the night with our boyfriends. So I'm like, oh, y'all. Yeah, so I'm like, okay, cool. So she like, yeah, so come this weekend, you could tell Joe like he could come with you. So I'm like, all right, perfect, like I'm gonna come. So my mom had already said if I go, I gotta take the Amtrak. So I was like, all right, whatever. After school, I'm gonna just already pack my bag, so then leave it in the car, so when I get out of school, you could just drop me off. So anyway, I end up going out there or whatever. So we was gonna do this slumber party on, I think it was gonna do Saturday, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it couldn't have been Friday because I was gonna get out there pretty late because it take a while on the train. I don't know, was it? It really doesn't matter. Either way, go, it was Friday or Saturday, one of them days. So anyway, I ride the train, I get out there or whatever. So usually when we would lie and go other places, Toxic will always usually say she's at my house. But this time she didn't have to do that because she said she was at her, because she was at her auntie house or whatever. And her mom and her auntie was beefing around this time, so her mom didn't know that the auntie went out of town. So she didn't know that we was finna be there by herself. So I'm like, okay, cool, I'm gonna tell my grandma. And I had told my mom too, I told her, I'm like, cause she knew Toxic cousin, like my grandma knew Toxic cousin and as well her auntie or whatever. So I'm like, okay, I told her Toxic cousin was having a slumber party for her birthday. I just lied, it was nowhere near that girl's birthday. I just said that. My mom was like, all right, whatever. So my grandma was like, cool, whatever, you could go. So when it came down to it, Toxic ended up getting dropped off at my house, right? Because we was gonna all go to her cousin's house together, which her cousin didn't live too far from me. So she get dropped off at my house, and Joe ended up coming to my house too. Mind you, my grandma didn't mind if my boyfriend came over or whatever for a little while, but he couldn't stay the night or do none of that, but she didn't mind. So when I'm telling her like, oh yeah, we finna go, like we about to leave right now, we're gonna just catch the train there. So she's like, why are y'all catching the train? Like, I could give y'all a ride. So I'm like, no, it's cool. Only reason why I was not trying to have my grandma give us a ride because, mind y'all, Joe was coming with us. So she was asking, she was like, oh, is he's going too to, you know, to her auntie house? And I'm like, no, no, why? Her mama would not, no, you know, I'm just putting on thick, like, nah, he not coming, he gonna go home, he just walking in the same direction with us or whatever. So she was just like, okay, because like the way we was going to the train station, he had to go to the train station anyway to go home, or we could walk, like either way go, because she didn't live that far from Joe, no way. So I'm like, yeah, he in the same direction, like, you know where such and such lives. So she like, all right, whatever, like call me when you get there. So I'm like, all right, peace out. So we start walking there, right, because we was gonna catch the train, but we was like, we might as well just walk. So we walking towards her house or whatever. So Toxic, she just happy. She like, yeah, my boyfriend, I'm gonna invite my boyfriend over, all this other stuff. Mind y'all, remember I told y'all back in that story, well, I touched on it a little bit, that she was messing with an older guy. So he really don't need no name or whatever like that. And it's crazy because what made me think about this story time, I'm sorry if you watching this, but he had hit me up on Instagram and was just like, hey, how you been, da 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 da. And I just was like, it made me think back, and I'm like, damn, I never told that story. So yeah, sorry if you're watching this, but Yeah, but anyway, so he ended up hitting, so he hit me up, my bad. But yeah, so we walking, so she telling us like her boyfriend was coming or whatever, like he's gonna come, and she's like, yeah, he got a car, he got this, he got that. I'm gonna have him bring some alcohol, because mind y'all, like I said, we was like 15, 16, and this man was older than us. He was old enough to buy alcohol. He was in his 20s. So I'm like, oh, cool. This around the time Four Locos was popping, so that's what he was gonna bring. He was gonna bring some Four Locos. So she like, yeah, and she gonna have him order a pizza, all this other stuff, which I had got money from my grandma and them too, just in case, like, you know, we did have to all go half into something. So I had my own money anyway. But yeah, so we walking there. So the whole time we walking there, Joe is not talking to Toxic. Remember I told y'all they had this weird little relationship. Like, it's like at first when y'all was cool, I mean, before I, you know, really start talking to him, y'all supposedly was like this, but when we start dating, y'all kind of get distant, like y'all don't like each other. So they not really talking or nothing like that. So he just quiet. So she's being cool, mind you, she's being so cool. Me and her just talking. We like, oh, okay, we could watch movies, we could do this. Like, we really just talking, having a good conversation, walking there. We finally get to the cousin house. We get there, her and her boyfriend already there. The house smell like trees. The moment you open the door, it's like smoke. So I'm like, okay, they finna be lit. So we walk up in there. They was already eating. They had some Louisianas, and they was just like eating or whatever. And I'm just thinking like, damn, we did pass by Louisianas on the way here. We should have stopped. But Toxic like, no, my boyfriend's gonna bring food. He's gonna bring food. So which he did. He ended up bringing a little Caesar's pizza. But yeah, so when we got there, she called him to let him know like she there or whatever. Mind you, we got to her cousin's house. Yeah, it had to be Saturday because we got there kind of early. We got there at like 7 o'clock. So it was kind of early. So he's like, he gonna come or whatever. But y'all, like I said, he's older. He's doing his own thing. So we in the house, we chilling. After we got there, and her cousin and her cousin boyfriend, they went in her room and they just was in there for a cool minute. So this is how the sleeping situation was gonna go. So of course her cousin was gonna sleep in her room with her man, and then Toxic was gonna sleep in the little brother room, so her little boy cousin room, because he wasn't there neither. She was gonna sleep in there with her man, and me and Joe was gonna sleep in the living room, because her cousin was like, we could sleep in her mama bedroom, but I'm like, nah, that's doing too much. Like, I'm gonna sleep on the couch. So we was gonna sleep on the couch. So me, Toxic, and Joe, we in the living room. Toxic being cool. We all just being cool. We just laughing, talking. She hitting up her boyfriend because we asking him, like, she's trying to see where he's at because we hungry. At this point, we could go walk and get us something to eat, like, if you're not coming. So he got an attitude. Like, she calling him and saying, like, oh, yeah, because we're hungry. So he like, you want me to just drop the fucking pizza off or something? Like, what do you want? I'm doing something. I'm out handling business. Like, you act like a little ass kid. He always said it to her, which I was so confused because I'm just thinking like she is. But yeah, so anyway, he just had an attitude. So at this point, I'm like, let's just go walk and get us something to eat. So we ended up walking. We was like, okay, we're gonna go to Louisiana's, because that and McDonald's was the closest thing. So we're gonna go to Louisiana's. So I don't know what in our right mind, because at this point we had been there for a cool minute. I don't know why we thought, maybe because they started like smoking and stuff before we left, like they was chilling or whatever like that. I don't know what in our mind made us think that Louisiana's was open. Mind you, they both are by her house, but they're in different directions. So we walked to Louisiana's. We walked way over there just so we could see that it's closed. So I'm like, damn, we gotta walk to McDonald's now. So we start walking in the direction of McDonald's. While we're walking towards McDonald's, because at this point we walked probably like 10-15 minutes to Louisiana. Now we gotta walk another like 10-15 minutes towards McDonald's. While we walking to McDonald's, Toxic boyfriend is blowing her phone up. He's blowing her phone up, but mind you, she's answering the phone. So she like, we getting food. So he like, what the fuck? Because he's loud. I could hear him through the phone. He like, what the fuck? I told you that I'm gonna be coming in a minute. I told you I'm gonna bring you some food. It was that serious for you to go outside? Like, who you trying to look cute for? And I'm just like quiet, because I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, he's weird. Mind you, Joe ain't saying nothing. He just was quiet as a mouse. So we just still walking or whatever. So now we about to walk past her cousin's street, but we have to walk past her cousin's street to get to McDonald's. But we was about to pass her street up. So Toxic started like doing this, like, come on, like trying to motion us to come this way back to the street. So I'm like, no, we about to get some McDonald's. Like, I'm hungry. So she like trying to talk, like, because he over there on the phone cussing her out. She like, yeah, no, I know, we're going back to the house now. So she like trying to like lip talk to me, like, you know, like let's go back, he's coming. So I was just like, no, like, he been saying he been coming for a long time, mind you, even though we only been there for like an hour, but still. So she was just like, she ended up hanging up, and she was just like, yeah, he's coming right now. He was mad because he just was like, he thought we wanted food or whatever. So I'm like, yeah, he could still bring the pizza, but I'm about to go to McDonald's because no telling how long he gonna come. So she like, well, I'm about to go back in the house. You and Joe could just go. So I'm like, do you want something? She like, nah, it's cool. I don't want nothing. It's cool. He's gonna come. He about to come with the pizza right now. So it's cool. And he gonna come with the alcohol. So y'all should just come back to the house. So I'm like, Nah, so Joe was like, come on, Symone, let's go. Like, let's go to McDonald's. So we start walking to McDonald's, me and Joe walking. So when we walk into McDonald's, Joe was just like, she get on my fucking nerves. And I'm just like, what did she do? Like, what did she do? He was like, because she really over here just like gonna go back to the house because a nigga told her to. And I'm just thinking like, the nerve, because you try to control my life. What the fuck? But anyway, I'm just like, oh, yeah, well, like, that's, you know, I guess he probably about to be on the way and she probably want to be there when he get there. Like, no telling how long the food gonna take. So he like, well, why she didn't want nothing? Like, why she didn't ask us to get her nothing? I'm like, because she probably gonna wait if he's about to be there with the food. So she like, who is the nigga anyway? Like, where's he from? Which I should have kind of paid attention to that, because why was you so caring? Like, why did you care so much? So I'm like, I don't know where he from. He's an older guy. Like, you know, he's like in his 20s. He's older than us. So he like, oh, okay. Like, how'd she meet him? I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I wasn't with her when she met him. So he like, oh, okay. All right, whatever. So we go on McDonald's, y'all. We get inside McDonald's and y'all, this mother man. So anyway, we get inside McDonald's, and when we get in there, it's like a group of people, like a whole bunch of people, boys, girls, whatever. It's a group of people or whatever, right? So we standing there, we waiting in line, and at first they was in front of us, and then they end up moving to the side, but they was like a few in front of us. They end up moving to the side. The other people that was in front of us, we still waiting in line. So they looking over there at us. They looking at us, but they wasn't looking at us in no type of way like that, and they was all laughing and joking and stuff like that. So next thing you know, Joe was like, cuz, what the fuck you looking at? And the boy was all like, Brittany, is that you? Like, talking to me. He's like, and I'm like, no. Joe looked at me like, what? Like, gave me that look like, why the fuck would you answer him? And he's like, I thought you was Brittany. I thought you was Brittany that went to Washington. Like, I thought you was Brittany. You look just like a girl named Brittany. And then the other girl's like, I thought that was Brittany too. And they're like, yeah, we thought she was Brittany. Like, we all thought she was Brittany. So I'm like, no. Like, you know, I'm just laughing. So Joe looked at me and he was like, why the fuck you talking to them? And I'm just like, maybe I should have went back and waited for that pizza. But y'all, I was so irritated and embarrassed because it's like these people was like our age. And it's like, why are you embarrassing me like that? But my thing is, it's not like the boy just asked, the girl asked too. And clearly you trying to be turned up and you see they ignored what the hell you just said and asked me if I was the person they thought I was. So anyway, we end up getting our food and we walking back to the house. So when we walk back to the house, this man would not let that shit go. He would not let it go. And you would think that, like, okay, this was different. Because usually he was like sweet, I guess, maybe. Anyway, usually he was like nice or whatever, but like sometimes he'd have his moments, but like after a while he started being moments all the time. But anyway, so I'm standing there and I'm just like, I mean, I'm not standing there, we walk back to the house. So he just wouldn't let it go. He just kept asking me like, why would you talk to them? Like, you gonna disrespect me like that? They know damn well you ain't no damn Brittany, da 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 da, and all this other stuff. Like, he just was just going. And I'm like, well, the girls thought that too. And he like, well, no, I don't think they thought you was Brittany. Like, you just want to be too nice. That's your problem. You too nice. Like, he used to always say that. And I'm just thinking like, what's wrong with being nice? No, I'm just kidding. But no, for real though, like, I just didn't understand. They asked me a question, I just answered it. So anyway, we ended up getting back to the house. Why we was at McDonald's probably for like a good 10 minutes. We get back to the house and then we gotta walk 15 minutes back. So we get back to the house. Guess who's still not there? Toxic's boyfriend. So I'm like, where he at? Like, did he come? Like, he left, came back or something? So she like, no, he on his way. He getting the food. He on his way or whatever like that. So I'm like, okay, mind y'all, when she walked back, he said he was on his way, like he was getting the food or whatever, like he was getting the pizza. So I'm thinking like maybe he went to a Little Caesar on the other side of town. I don't know. So we sitting there, we eating. At this point, time go by. We in the living room, we just talking. Like I said, the cousin, her man never came back out. We in the living room, we talking. We done ate our food. We talking, we laughing, we joking, all this other stuff. Like I said, we got there like 7 o'clock. At this point, it's like 10:30. Toxic boyfriend still ain't there. He was on his way when we got there, y'all. I don't know where he was coming from. So he finally calls her and was just like, I'm outside, where can I park at? Do they got some indoor parking? Like, do they got somewhere I could park in her building or something like that? So she like, no, they don't have parking. It's only street parking. So he was just like, all right, whatever. Well, I'm about to come up now. Like, I'm about to come in. So she like, all right. So she getting happy. She's like, oh yeah, he's here with the pizza and all this other stuff. So at this time, I'm hungry again because that was like a minute ago that we ate. So he ended up coming to the house with the pizza, whatever. He put the pizza down. He like, yeah, I got some Four Locos. He was like real cool to us or whatever, but I don't know, maybe she was getting on his nerves. But he was like, yeah, like I got the pizza. Like, y'all hungry? So I'm like, yeah, I want some pizza. Like, we went to McDonald's and but I'm hungry again. So he's like, y'all went to McDonald's? And I'm like, yeah. So he like, I thought you said you was waiting for me here. And she's like, I didn't go to McDonald's. Like, I didn't get nothing. They only went. Like, I didn't get nothing. So he was like, oh, okay. Yeah. And I'm just thinking, like, why would it matter? That was hours ago. But anyway, why we open up this pizza? This motherfucker's cold. This pizza is cold. It is cold. So now we over here trying to warm up the pizza in the microwave and stuff like that. His dumb, silly self, he's older than us. You would think that he had a little bit of brains. But he gonna tell us to put the pizza in the oven with the box. Not without the box, but with the box. He was like, yeah, y'all can just put the whole box in the oven. So we like, oh, okay, we trying to take the slices off, like, to put in a pan. And he was like, no, just put the box in the oven. I'm like, you're not supposed to put cardboard in the oven. Yeah, no. So anyway, we chilling. At this point, we chilling. We start taking back the Four Locos. And he was like, pretty much, like, after we warmed up the pizza and ate it and started drinking, he basically was like, let's go to the room. So he wanted to go to the room with her or whatever. So she like, all right, I'm about to go to the room. Y'all good? We like, yeah, you good? Go ahead, girl. Which I didn't mind because I'm like, I want a long time with my boyfriend. Anyway, so we sitting in here. We just talking, chilling or whatever like this. At this point, this before me and him ever did anything, you know, before I lost my virginity or whatever. So he knew I wasn't ready or whatever like that, and Toxic knew this too, because you my friend, I talk to you all the time. Like, you knew this, she knew this, right? But at this point, when she started talking to him, I don't know, it wasn't him. Was it? No, she said his boyfriend. I did not like him. Anyway, so she was talking. Anyway, that does not matter. That's not my business. Whatever. So I don't know. It was weird. Like, she thought because she lost hers before me, like I was a kid. And it was like, girl, I just didn't want to do it. Like, it was not a big of a deal. It didn't change the way we lived life or anything like that. So it was like, whatever. So they in the room, whatever. We in here, we just talking. We like cuddling, watching the TV. We watching Love and Hip Hop and stuff. She ended up coming out the room. She come out the room and she was just like, girl. And I'm like, what? Like, you know, like, what? But I'm over here about to get up from cuddling with him because I'm thinking she trying to tell me something, you know, like some shit that they did or whatever. But why would you tell me in front of him? So I'm getting up to go see what she finna say. So she like, girl. And then when I was getting up, she like came and sat down on the couch and was like, you ain't gotta get up. She was like, girl, I just sucked this. She sucked the meat. I was like, oh, okay, all right. So she like, because at this point I'm starting to get uncomfortable because, mind you, we have been drinking Four Locos and stuff like that. We spent a night together. This was our first time spending a night together. And I was not on that type of timing, which I knew Joe had already did these things before. That's why he cheated on me like crazy, because I wasn't giving it up. He would have cheated on me regardless, because when we started doing stuff, he still cheated. But anyway, yeah, like, so I was starting to get uncomfortable because I'm just thinking, mind you, before we even got there, before Joe even got to my house and all that, I told her, like, she was like, is this gonna be the night? Is this gonna be the night? And I'm like, no, like, it's not gonna be the night. So it irritated me. I'm not gonna lie. I started getting uncomfortable because I just knew, like, if you talking like this, he probably gonna feel like, damn, the whole house doing it, why don't you do it? You know, I didn't know. Like, I just didn't, I was like, you know, so I'm getting uncomfortable. So I'm like, girl, all right, well, you better go back in there. And she was just like, no, girl, like, we was, you know, hunching, they getting it in. So I'm like, oh, okay. She's like, girl, it was good. Like, y'all didn't hear me? I'm like, no, we didn't hear you. She's like, I need to be louder then. Like, she just laughing. Mind you, we have been drinking, but you was being weird because you wasn't acting like this before he came, which that was her excuse. She gonna say because we was drinking, because when I had said something to her about it. But it's like, you wasn't acting like this before he came. So yeah, it just was weird. So she like, dang, like, so y'all just in here just cuddling, like, y'all ain't doing nothing, like touching, nothing, like, you ain't, Symone, you might as well just suck it. Might as well just suck it. You want me to show you? Like, you want to come in there and watch me and I'll show you how to do it? And I was like, no, like, we good. We just watching Love and Hip Hop. So Joe like, man, cuz get out of here. Like, get out of here. We good. Like, go back in there with your nigga. Like, why is you in here bragging about weird shit? Like, go back in there. So I'm just thinking like, yes, like, at least he said something. But I'm like, yeah, girl, we good. Like, go back in there. She's like, I want to be with y'all. Like, I want to cuddle with y'all. I put him to sleep. Mind you, she said she put this man to sleep. He started walking out. He was like, what the fuck are you doing? Come back in here. Like, why are you in here with them? And she was like, I was just trying to tell her and stop being scary. Can you believe she never him? And I'm just thinking like, damn, you might as well scream into the whole building. Put my business in the streets. But he was like, all right, well, come back in here. Like, come on, let's go back in here. She was like, I'm just trying to show her, like, if she seen how we do it, if they seen, like, man, like, I'm just trying to show her. So I'm like, girl, go back in the room. Like, I'm good. Like, I'm good. It's cool. We watching TV. We cuddling. We good. We eating the cold pizza. I'm like, we good. So he like, yeah, come on, get your ass back in the room. So she ended up going back in the room, right? She go back in the room. And next thing you know, we back to cuddling. She left out and we go back to cuddling. Like, you know, we like laid on the couch and like cuddling. So when I like lean back on him, he's starting to get to rubbing and stuff. And I'm just like, this bitch. So now when we lean back, like he's starting trying to rub on me. So I'm like, this bitch. I'm so irritated. Like I'm getting so uncomfortable. Like I'm just so irritated because I'm just like, that's not what I'm on. So now he like trying to kiss me and stuff like that. And I was just like, like, you know, like not trying to kiss back because I'm like, we spend a night together. It's not like I could play because, you know, usually you could play these little games and it'd be like, got a blast. Gotta go home. But it's like, no, we spend a night together here. So I can't really play these games because, yeah, I just don't know. Like, and plus we've been drinking. So I'm like, no, it ain't finna happen. Like I didn't want to. Like I just didn't want to. So now he like trying to kiss me. Like, you're not gonna kiss me? Like, so he trying to kiss me, but I'm trying to keep it real brief. Like, wait, look what Erica Mena did. Like, oh wow, what? Oh my God, Chrissy. Like, you know, I'm just like really trying to like look at the TV. Like, I ain't see this episode yet. And he like, this an old episode. And I'm just like, oh, but I ain't seen this one. You know, I'm really just trying to play it off and he just trying to touch me and stuff like that. So I was really just uncomfortable and irritated. So I ended up getting up. I was like, I gotta go to the bathroom. I went to the bathroom and I'm just sitting in there for a minute. Because I'm just like, oh, hopefully the longer I sit in here, he gets more into the TV and he forget about me. So I was just like sitting there for a minute. So I'm sitting in there. I hear the door open. Next thing you know, I hear Toxic talking. She talking to Joe. I couldn't really make what she was saying, but I could hear her just loud talking. So I'm just sitting there for a minute, and then eventually I'm like, okay, what is she talking to him for? Like, not that on some jealous type stuff, but it's like, what are you saying to him? Because like I said, she was already saying some weird shit. So I don't know if she over there telling him like, just do it. Like I didn't, you know, I wasn't ready. So I ended up going out the bathroom. And I'm just like, Toxic, go back in there with your boyfriend. And she was like, I'm just trying to make sure y'all good. Like, I'm just trying to make sure y'all good. Like, do you want me to teach you how to do it? Like, do you want me to show you? She's like, y'all could come in there and watch. And Joe was like, I don't need no nigga to teach me how to do shit. I been fucking. And I'm like, and she's like, yeah, Symone the only one. Like, okay, so y'all could come here, Symone could watch. And she's like, and then like, I could show you like an example. I could show you an example. So I'm like, you could show me an example of what? Like, of what? Like, basically trying to say we could go in there and play switch off. And I'm just like, you could show me an example of what? At this point, I'm getting irritated. I'm like, what you could show me an example of? And she's like, I'm just saying like friend, don't play like that. Like, I'm just saying, like, I could show you. Like, if you scared, you don't know what to do. Like, I could really just show you. So I was like, Toxic, get out of here. Like, you getting on my fucking nerves. At this point, I'm irritated because like, I can't go home this late. Because, I mean, I could, but I would have to walk or catch the train or something. Which I could have called my grandma. She would have came. But I just wasn't trying to do all that. So I'm like, damn, I'm kind of stuck here. So I'm just like, Toxic, like, you getting on my nerves. Like, you really getting on my nerves right now. So she like, I'm getting on your nerves. Like, you want to fight because you scared of fuck? Y'all, I was so irritated because I'm like, nobody is scared. I just don't want to. Like, it's cool. I'm watching TV. Like, I'm watching Love and Hip Hop. We good. Like, go back in the room with your boyfriend. I'm like, go back in the room with him. So at this point, we getting into it. And she's just like, I'm just saying, like, if you're gonna wonder why, like, niggas is gonna, if you're not giving it to him, who you think is? And I'm like, he's not worried about that. My dumb delusional self. He was. Well, I went through the Facebook messages. He was getting it from Eric. Whatever. Anyway, so I'm just like, he's not worried about that. He's not worried about that. He's okay with waiting for me. I don't got no grown ass man that's trying to force me to do shit. Like, y'all, when I said that, it's like he heard. He came out because at first he was still in the room. He came out and he's like, you know what? I'm finna leave. And she's like, why are you leaving, Symone? Apologize to him. I'm like, I'm not apologizing to him. And he's like, no, it ain't her. She didn't do shit. She didn't do nothing. He's like, they cool, bro. You good, bro. You good. Because Joe started standing up, like, you know, defending my honor. Because he thinking like, oh, is this nigga finna get turned up with me? Like, you know, Joe started standing up. So he like, no, y'all good, bro. Like, you good, bro. You good. He's like, it's her. This bitch. She keep coming out here like, you coming out here like you want to fuck her nigga or something. And she's like, baby, no. Y'all, let me talk regular. So she like, baby, no. Like, and she crying and whining. She's like, no. Why this bitch drop down to the floor and start grabbing his legs, like laying down on the floor? And I'm just like, I stepped over her and went back to sit on the couch because she needed to get up, but I wasn't going to be the one to tell her because she had me fucked up too. So he like, nah, get the fuck up off of me. Get up off of me. I'm finna leave. He's like, you on some kid ass shit. He was like, I could be in the club right now. I could be doing this right now. Instead, you want to be on some kid shit. Like, I'm a grown ass man. And I was just so confused because I'm just thinking like, it's clear. She did not lie about her age. It was clear, unless she did, but it's like, why would you think that her friend and her friend's boyfriend is this age and she's older? Like, make it make sense, bro. Make it make sense. But she didn't lie about her age, that man. I don't think so. But anyway, so she like, baby, no, baby, no. And she just crying. She was like, no, don't go. She just kept saying it like a fucking record. Like, she just crying to him. He's like, no, stand here. You want to stand here all night with them? Stand here. So I'm going to the club. Fuck you. Like, fuck you. I'm going to the club. Like, man, you really, now I see why they said don't be fucking with bitches like you. She's like, I'm not like that. I'm mature for my age. And he like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm leaving. You're weird. Like, he's just talking shit to her. He just like really talking shit to her, cussing her out. Joe is dying laughing. Like, he's laughing like I'm tickling him. He is, oh. So it's like her crying and whining, him cussing her out, Joe laughing, and I'm just sitting here like, I'm trying to hear what Yandy said. You know, I'm just sitting here like, oh my God. He's like, you look like a fucking fool. They laughing at you and shit. And she's like, baby, no. He like, get the fuck up off the floor. Like, he cussing. You would think the cousin would have came out. Never came out that room. Anyway, so he yelling at her. He like, no, I'm finna go. Fuck you, da-da-da-da. Why? Because it was extra for locals. This nigga went in the refrigerator and took him. I guess they go with him. So he took him. I'm surprised he didn't take the rest of the pizza, but he took him. He's like, I'm going. So she ran to the door. And she's like, no, mind you, she came out in her panties. So she came out of the room. She kept coming out in her underwear. So he run, like, she goes to the door to like leave out. She trying to pull him. She pulling him. She's like, Symone, do something. What the fuck you want me to do? Girl, I ain't doing shit. So she like, do something. She's trying to pull him. He like, let me go. Leave me the fuck alone. She just pull him. She's like, Symone, do something. But mind you, when she said that, I kind of tried to like adjust in the seat. I was not finna get up to do something. Why Joe gonna tell you better not? And gonna put his hand like on me like, you better not. And I was like, I'm not. And she's like, do something. Babe, no, don't go. And I'm just thinking like, why are you acting like this, bro? It's not like he kicking us out of his house and we ain't got nowhere to go. Like, we good. So she like, no. So he like, nah, I'm good. After the club, I'll see where your head at. And it's like, bro, you planned on going to the club the whole time. You just needed any excuse. So anyway, so he ended up leaving out, slamming the door. And she finna run out the door. Like, but she got the door, but she didn't want to leave all the way out because she was in her underwear. And the apartment building her cousin lived in was very active with people outside at all times of the night. So she just standing there in her panties at the door like, come back, don't do this, I'm sorry. And he just like left. And Joe just laughing still. Laughing like we watching a comedy special. He is just dying laughing. And sometimes when other people laugh, I laugh. But I was trying not to laugh because I'm just like, it's not funny. But at the same time, I was irritated. But I'm just like, bro, I'm like, Joe, shut up. And he's just like, nah, this shit is comedy, cuz. This shit is comedy. And I'm just like, okay. So anyway, so she ended up coming back and she crying. She just crying. And she's like, Symone, you should have just said sorry to him. And I'm like, he wasn't mad at me. He's mad at you. I'm like, you keep coming out here. You supposed to be spending the night with your boyfriend. You don't even get to do this. And you keep coming out trying to be with us. Like, you're being weird. I'm like, you was being weird all night. Like, and she's like, I'm not trying to be weird. Let me talk regular. She's like, I wasn't trying to be weird, but she crying though. She's like, I'm not trying to be weird. I was just trying to help you. I'm trying to help my friend out because I know that you're scared. I was just trying to make you feel comfortable. And I was like, girl, leave it alone. Like, just go in the room and go to sleep. This bitch gonna say, can I sleep in the room with her? She's like, Joe can sleep on the couch. You can come sleep in the room with me. Why would I do that? So I'm like, girl, no, I'm sleeping on the couch with Joe. Like, go in there. Like, go in there. So she like, you really gonna do that? Okay, stop. So she like, she's like, best friend, you're really gonna do this? And I'm just like, first of all, who said we was best friends? No, I'm just kidding. But like, I'm just like, yeah. Like, yeah, I'm just like, go in the room. Like, go in the room. Just go to sleep. You're drunk. Just go in the room. So she ended up going in the room. Y'all, she's in the room crying so damn loud. Like, remember when she wanted us to hear her having sex and we didn't hear that? Yeah, she was purposely being loud crying. She's like crying loud like a newborn that is hungry. She was crying so loud. So I'm about to go take her some water because Joe was like, man, shut that bitch the fuck up. And I'm just like, I'm about to take her some water. Like, she been drinking. You know, I know how Four Locals is. So I'm taking her some water and she's like, can you just stay here with me? Just sleep with me, please. She's like, he could sleep in here too, but just sleep with me. She's like, he could sleep in here. I'll sleep in the middle. Why would he sleep? Why would you sleep in the middle? So I was like, girl, no, I'm sleeping in the living room. I'm like, and I'm leaving early in the morning. I'm like, I want to go home. I want to go home. She was like, no, like, best friend, let's do something tomorrow. Like, let's do something tomorrow. So I was like, no, I'm going back to Rialto, knowing damn well I wasn't. But I'm like, I want to go home. Like, I'm going to just start hanging out with my friends out there because, like, like, no. And she was like, but what about Joe? I don't give a fuck. I'm just kidding. I was lying. I was still going to come. So I ended up leaving out or whatever, and yeah, I left out the room and I ended up going back in there with Joe. So we in there, we like finally just chilling. He laughing, talking about what happened or whatever. Some time go by. Y'all, we sleep. We finally go to sleep, right? Next thing you know, we was sleep, y'all. So time go by. Next thing you know, we hear a like hard on the door, somebody knocking on the door. So I'm waking up and I just laid there, and Joe woke up and he's like, you hear that? I'm like, yeah, I ain't finna answer the door. Like, I looked at my phone, y'all, it's like 2 in the morning. It's 2 in the morning. So I'm like, yeah, I'm not about to answer that. So I hear the door knocking. So I finally they just banging on the door. So I finally go in there to wake Toxic up. I'm shaking her like, wake up. She knocked out. So I'm like, Toxic, wake up. I'm pulling her out the bed like, wake up, Toxic. Somebody's at the door. I didn't even look through the blinds or nothing. I wasn't finna do that. So, and they didn't have a screen door. They only had the big door. So I ain't finna open the door. Like, I'm not doing all that. So I'm like, wake up. I'm pulling her because I don't know if it's the auntie coming back home and she ain't got a key. I didn't know what to expect. If it's her mom, I didn't know what to expect. So I'm like, Toxic, wake up, somebody at the door. So I'm damn near pulling her out the bed. She damn near fell. She almost fell out the bed, but she like woke up and caught herself and was like, what are you doing? Because I'm pulling her by her feet, y'all. I was still kind of drunk my damn self because, like I said, we were drinking. Even though I was asleep, I still, you know, when you wake up and you still be drunk. So that's why, because now I think about it, like, why the fuck was I pulling that girl out the bed? Like, I literally was shaking her so hard she would not wake up, and I'm pulling her by her feet, like, come on, get up out of bed. But when she was finna fall, she did wake up and like caught herself. She was like, what are you doing? Like, why are you pulling me out the bed? And I was like, somebody's at the door. And she was like, what? I'm like, somebody's at the door. And I just walked off. So next thing you know, she's walking behind me, and she opened the door, and he was like, oh, you good now? You good now? Why was her boyfriend? Like I said, you been was going to the club, bro. Like, anyway, it's him. He was like, you good now? You good now? So she's like, baby, you came back? And he was like, come on, come your ass in the room. So they leave to walk in the room. They didn't even close the damn door. I had to close the door and lock it. So I ended up going back to sleep or whatever. Early morning, I was so annoyed. Oh my gosh. She came out acting like nothing ever happened. He just like, all right, if y'all want to ride home, y'all got to get it now because I'm finna leave. So I'm just like, damn, do I want to ride home? Because like, I'm just really trying to think about it like, dang, if we get a ride to my house, who I'm going to say this person is? But I'm like, all right, you could drop us off at the corner. So he ended up dropping Joe off first because, like I said, Joe didn't live that too far from the cousin. Anyway, so he dropped Joe off first, and then we ended up leaving. Y'all, and when we left, the cousin, her boyfriend was still in the room. We ended up just leaving the door unlocked. She was like, it's cool. She going to wake up and lock it. We ended up leaving the door unlocked. So we ended up leaving. So he dropped us off. We drop off by the corner or whatever like that. And I'm like, Toxic, come on. She's like, I just want to talk to him real quick. And I'm like, okay, well, don't have him pull up no more when you get out the car. Just still walk from down here. So she's like, all right. So I ended up going in the house. My grandma's like, oh, where's Toxic? I thought she was here. I'm like, she's outside. So she's like, what is she doing outside? You know, grandma's is nosy. Now she's trying to look out the window. But where I had him pull at, she couldn't see from right there. So I'm like, she's talking to her mom. Like, she just in trouble about something. So she's like, what is she in trouble about? I'm like, grandma, chill. Like, you know, like, you asking a lot of questions. So my grandma's still looking out the window. Why does bitch Toxic had a nigga pull up in front of the house to let her out? And then they both got out the car and she hugged and kissed him. So I'm like, my grandma's like, who is that? Because mind you, I'm sitting in the living room waiting for her to come so we could go in my room. My grandma's like, who is that? That's who just dropped you off. I'm like, I don't know who that is. She's like, did y'all just get out the car with him? I'm like, no, I didn't get out the car with him. I don't know who that is. So she like, so who is that man that she's kissing? He's look grown. I'm like, grandma, I have no idea. Maybe they just met when I got out the car. So she's like, you just got out the car from with them? I'm like, no, I got out the car from with her auntie. She busted a U-turn. Toxic got out too. Maybe Toxic just met this man. I don't know. So she just like, Moni, you think I'm dumb? I'm like, I don't think you're dumb. I'm just kidding. I'm like, I don't think you're dumb, but I don't know him. Like, she might just met him. And I'm just like, I'm gonna ask her myself. Like, now I'm just playing along. So she ended up coming to the house. My grandma was like, who is that man, Toxic? He looked too old for you. And she was like, oh, that was my uncle. He just gave us a ride here. And I'm like, no, he didn't. So my grandma was all like, so which one of y'all is lying? And I'm like, Toxic, come on, let's go to the room. I'm like, why would you have him pull in front of the house? And why would you say that was your uncle? Who the hell get out the car and hug and kiss their uncle on the mouth? She's like, I think she'll believe it. And I'm just like, why would you have him pull right there though? Like, why you couldn't just get out where I got out at and walk? And she just like, oh, because he just wanted to make sure. Sorry. He just wanted to make sure I got in the house good. So I'm like, okay, but he could have did that from a distance. Like, instead of hopping out and hugging and kissing minors in front of my house. So after that next day, I was so annoyed. And she used to know how to get it, because I'd be like, oh, you about to go home? Like, you about to go home now? I'm over here lying like I'm gonna go back to Rialto, but she knew damn well I wasn't. So I'm like, you about to go home or whatever? So she like, oh no, I'm gonna just stay here for the day because I gotta wait till the alcohol go down because my mom is gonna trip. So I was so irritated because I'm just like, girl, I don't know, fucking want you here. Like, I'm so annoyed with her. Like, I'm so irritated with her. And never, like, whenever I'll get annoyed with her and she do some shit, like, she didn't know what to do. So like, our other friend ended up coming over, the one that I said is my best friend from when I spoke on too, she ended up coming over, whatever. Like, we used to hang out. It's crazy because it's like we was best friends, but her parents didn't really let her do shit like that. So it was like, she wasn't really in the mix like that. But anyway, she ended up coming over too. And whenever Toxic knows she did something or fucked up, she would try to do the most stupidest shit. Like, not stupid shit, y'all might think this is really weird, but like, she would want to massage my feet. Yeah, and I would let her. She would want to massage my feet or like play in my hair or be like, oh, you want me to do your ponytail? Or you want me to do this? And I'll just let her, like, you know. But she used to try to do that to try to get back on my good side and be like, ooh, look, you look cute. Or look, or oh, this, that. And then I'll just be like, okay, like, whatever. Like, y'all, it just sound weird. I was gonna say, sometimes like when I'll be on my period, she'll come give me a massage. But no, it's not weird. You know, like when you're friends with people. Now I don't have friends that give me massages. But anyway, so yeah, so she was just like trying to be real extra nice, and my best friend just didn't really like her. So she just like she was just so irritated with the whole situation. And I told her what happened when she was there. So Toxic getting mad because she like, why are you telling her? Like, you could have kept this between us. We was drunk, she wasn't there, and she can't come outside. Like, she wasn't there. And my best friend was really just turned up on her, and I'm just like, no, y'all don't need to get into it. But like, Toxic, that was weird. I'm like, I just needed somebody else to see that was weird. She's like, that's weird as hell. Toxic, do you like Joe? Do you like Joe? Because mind you, I told you they all went to the same school. She's like, do you like him or something? Do you like him? She was like, because every time, like, they went to the same school, but they didn't fuck with each other like that. I was the friend that made them friends because they didn't even hang out at school. She's like, because every time I see you at school with him, you be like trying to flirt, talk to him. So at this point, I'm thinking like, hold on, wait. Because whenever they was around each other, remember I told y'all they act like they hate each other. So I'm like, wait, y'all be talking at school? Like, which I don't have a problem with that, y'all. Like, I didn't have a problem with them talking at school. That wasn't the issue. It's just like, I started to think it was weird that when y'all around each other, y'all seem like y'all don't like each other and got much words when I'm there, but y'all be at school talking. Like, that's weird. Like, you know, like, what's tea? What's going on, sis? So I'm like, oh, I didn't know y'all was cool at school. She's like, it's not like that. Like, you know, it's not like that at all. Like, I just see him, I speak because I want to make sure he's not cheating on you or talking to any other girls, because do she do that? Is she making sure? And she's like, I'm not finna babysit that nigga at school. And I'm just like, nobody's asking none of y'all to do that. Like, I'm not asking y'all to watch him at school because back home I have another boyfriend. So, you know, I'm not really I'm tripping, but I ain't tripping big like that. So I was just so irritated. Like, I was so annoyed. But this story's not over. So anyway, I go back home, and months later, because it would make no sense to make this to another story. So I go back home, and like months later, like some times later, at this point, me and Joe had already done the do. So she's still messing with the old head. No, she's still messing with old boy. And this point, he ended up getting his own apartment. So she was like, yeah, he got an apartment, da-da-da-da. So she was all like, can I spend the night at your house? She had asked me, could she spend the night at my house? So I'm like, yeah, you could spend the night or whatever. So time go by and she never came. So I'm thinking like, when are you coming? Like, because if not, I'm about to go to somebody else's house. Like, I'm about to go to my godsister's house or somebody's house. I'm finna go to somebody else's house. I don't want to stay at my grandma's house all night. So she like, oh, I'm at the dude house, right? This was another time I'm out here for the weekend. So she like, oh, I'm at his house. She like, he just got his own place, and he said that we could come over and spend the night. Like, you and Joe is real cool. Like, we could come spend the night or whatever, and we could have like a part 2 or whatever like this. So I'm thinking about it like, I would want to spend the night with my man. But you know, so I'm like, all right, let me hit Joe and see where he at. So I'm hitting him up, and I'm like, Joe, do you want to spend the night together? And like, he was always available. That's why I didn't understand when he had the time to cheat. Oh, when I was at home, probably. Shit, who knows? But anyway, so I'm like, Joe, you trying to spend the night at Toxic boyfriend house? So he like, yeah, okay, like, I'm down. He was like, I'm like, all right, cool, we could go over there or whatever. I'm like, but we gotta catch the bus to his house because we can't get dropped off there together. Like, my only ride's my grandma. I can't get dropped off with you there. So he like, all right, cool. Just come to my house and it will leave from there since it's closer towards his house, right? So I had another homegirl that lived by Joe's house. So I had my girl, like Joe, everybody just not live that far from each other. So I had my grandma drop me off at the other homegirl house. And mind y'all, I'm so fucked up because I didn't even tell her that I was like fake using her. But it's not like my grandma would have called her, came back. But y'all, why when she was dropping me off, I'm just assuming they wouldn't have been outside, like outside on their street. So she dropped me off and my friend ended up hitting me up because her brother seen me. And she hit me up like, girl, what are you doing over here? Like, I thought you was gonna come to the house and you ain't never came in. So I'm like, oh no, like I booked it through the alley. Like I hurried up and rent to go to Joe's house. I'm like, oh no, I was just going to Joe's house. So she was already mad at me because I was like kind of flaky, you know how it be. But anyway, so she was mad at me or whatever. So anyway, I ended up going to Joe's house. We going towards her boyfriend's house now. So that was like a long ass bus right there or whatever, right? So we walking. Mind you, she tell me the address of his house. Where he lived at, it was a lot of apartments. Like a lot of apartments, right? So we just think like, okay, we gonna walk and be able to find the address. So I told her like, we got off the bus now. We finna walk through the neighborhood of apartments and find the address. So she like, all right, cool. It's a brown apartment building. So I'm like, all right, cool. We walking, y'all. We walking. We just walked for a long time. We see a lot of brown apartments, but we didn't see that address. So finally, she ended up calling me like, y'all should have been here. You said y'all got off the bus and y'all was turning up that street. So I'm like, yeah, girl, we about to walk up on a park right now. Do you want us to just wait for you there? Because we can't find an apartment. So she like, the park, no. So he grabbed the phone. He like, y'all get the fuck away from that park. Get away from that park. The homies don't play that. They gonna end up doing something to him. And he banged, Get the fuck, turn around, hurry up. Y'all don't run too fast, but like walk fast, get away from that park, get away from that park. So I'm like, I pulled Joe, I'm like, all right, we gonna get away from the park. Like, so we walk out, he said we can't be by this park. This a hood park. His homies don't play that. Which I was thinking like, if these your homies, why you can't just, if they try to get us, why you can't say something? But whatever. So I'm like, well, can y'all come meet us? Because we don't know which way to go. So he like, no, okay, I'm going to just tell y'all how to get here because the homies don't play. I don't like to come outside like too late because the homies be on some bullshit. And I'm just thinking like, how you can't go outside after a certain time and these your friends? Like, you got a curfew or something? But anyway, I didn't say that to him though because, you know, we about to stay at night at this man's house. I ain't wanted him to be like, you know what? Go home. And anyway, so we walking. He giving me like directions over the phone. We walking. We finally turn. He like, do you see a brown apartment building? And I'm looking like, you live in a common color apartment building, bro. Like, how I'm gonna see a brown apartment? So I end up like, no. And he like, oh, walk down. I see y'all. So I'm like, could Toxic come outside? Because like, he had us walking down for a long time saying he seen us. And how far we walked down, it was no way he could have seen us. So he like, I don't want her outside around this time. So I'm just like, all right. Which, you know what? Didn't make no sense because bro had a car. Why he couldn't just come get us? Anyway, so finally we see him and he like waving his hand like this, like, come on, like at the apartment entrance, like, come on. So we start walking. He like, y'all, come on, get up in here. So I'm thinking like, damn, he acting like they finna purge around here after a certain time. So we end up getting an apartment, and while we in there, they have food or whatever. They have pizza, and they had drink. They smoking. So him and Joe start smoking. Toxic up in there. When we first walk in, she had these little ass shorts on, and she's like, for real? And she just started like trying to twerk, but she was doing this hard twerk to where she was really just popping her back or whatever like that. And I'm just laughing. I'm like, hey girl, like, you know, I'm hugging her or whatever. So she like, yeah, we lit, we turned up or whatever like that. Like, we drinking, we having fun. She like, we not gonna bother y'all, because mind y'all, he had that one bedroom, so we was gonna sleep on the couch. So she like, we not gonna bother y'all, we just gonna eat, drink, they gonna smoke, and then we not gonna bother y'all, we gonna have fun tonight, we not gonna bother y'all. So I'm like, okay, like, you know, I'm not tripping or whatever. So while they smoking, me and her just over by the kitchen part, we talking. She's like, girl, my man has a place. I'm just like, girl. Like, we talking. She being real cool. Mind you, she had already been drinking, but she being cool. I'm like, okay, she being cool. She being good tonight. She ain't acting weird. So she being good, right? Right? Okay. So she like, girl, y'all gonna do something? And I was like, probably not, because y'all, after I had did it for the first time, I hated it. I did not like sex at all. I hated it. It was too hard. I mean... It hurted bad. It just hurted so bad. Like, I did not like it at all. So I'm like, you know what? I'm like, probably not, because we don't have protection, whatever. So I'm like, I purposely like forgot to stop at the store with him, like, you know, because yeah. So she's like, oh girl, we got some. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm cool, like, I don't want to do it, like, it hurts. She's like, girl, you're not doing it right. And I'm just thinking like, probably not, but I still don't, I'm cool. Like, if it happens, it happens, you know. But like, I really try to avoid it at all costs. Like, I used to pray during, I'm not lying to y'all, I used to pray to God that this man would hurry up and you know, come, because I would be like, this is painful, you know. Anyway, so yeah, I just like, and she knew this. I told her, because I used to ask her, like, she used to try to tell me, like, when I told her I didn't like it, she was just trying to make it seem like if I was just this dry coochie ass little girl or something like that. Like when she was just dried in California in the drought. I'm like, that's not the problem. This shit too big. Like, it was just, that's not something, you know, when your first rodeo, you don't do that. You know, like, okay, for instance, y'all know when you walk into the sex store and you see them dildos and you be like, who the fuck is using that? That's how it was. Like, it was nothing that I was enjoying at all. Like, at all. Not my first time around. Girl, I used to be crying. Like, sometimes, like, tears would come out my eyes and I would just pray. Because you know how boys be trying to hold back and they be like, yeah, I know that's too much TMI. But you know how they be, you know, especially the young ones, because they be trying to laugh, so they'll stop and they be like, bro, just let me get this through. Please. Please. You know, and then it's like, I couldn't really go down because, like, I was still learning. And it's like, my jaws hurt because it was just, like, massive, you know? And it's crazy because he used to always tell me, like, before we did anything, he used to be like, I have this, you know what, that's neither here nor there. I just didn't enjoy it. Maybe someone else is enjoying it, and good for her, but not me. So anyway, yeah, so I'm telling her, she's just like, okay, girl, like, you know, all right. You know, so she just being cool or whatever. So they finished smoking, and they was finished smoking, and they just sitting there talking. So Toxic was like, baby, let's go in the room, let's get them their privacy. So I'm thinking like, oh, look at her, learning from her mistakes, you know, right? Right? So they ended up leaving out the room or whatever. When they left, we ended up cutting off the lights or whatever, and we just chilling in the living room. And he was just like, you know, let's do it. And I'm just like, and I'm like, we don't have anything. And he was like, go ask them. I'm pretty sure he got some. And I'm just like, I'll ask in a minute. You know, I'm just trying to kill time or whatever. And he just like, go ask them. Like, go ask them before I go ask them. So I'm like, okay. So I go in there and I'm like trying to listen at the door, you know, to make sure they're not doing anything because I don't want to interrupt nobody. So then I finally hear them just talking. So I just knock on the door and she come out the door and she closed the door and she's like, what? Like, we in the hallway talking. She's like, what? Like, what's going on? So I'm like, do y'all have any, you know, protection? Like, do y'all have any? So she was just like, hold on, let me ask him. So she go back and she closed the door and she's like, girl, don't peep, my man is naked. And she closed the door. I'm just thinking like, I do not want to see him naked, girl. So anyway, she go back in there, she closed the door, and she come back out. She come back out, and she was like, no, we don't. We just actually used the last one. But if you want, I could wash it out, and y'all could use it. So I'm like, no, I'll take my risk with the pull out. I'm okay. So I'm just like, no, girl, that's nasty. She's like, you sure? Like, you sure? So I'm like, yeah. She's like, girl, cause I'll, and then he start calling her. So she's like, hold on. So she's like, yeah, babe. So he was like, they got one more or whatever. So she was like, oh, okay. But we need to use it. So he like, we went without using them before. And she's like, I know, but we need to use that last one. So she's like, yeah, we only got one left. So no, I guess y'all just can't do nothing tonight. You didn't want to do nothing anyway. So I'm like, yeah, but now, like, that's my man. I have to do it because if not, remember you said he's going to do it with someone else. And at this point, I knew he was cheating on me. I found out about that. So I'm like, damn, I don't want to do it, but like, I guess got to. But you know, anyway, well, I really didn't have to. I shouldn't have because, yeah. But anyway, so she like, I guess y'all just, you know, just chill, just do other things. So I'm just like, okay, all right. So I end up going back in there. I'm like, yeah, they ain't got none. And he like, oh, dang, all right. Well, I ain't got nobody pregnant yet. And I'm just like, why you have to say it like that? Like, you know, make me just think like, dang, you just be doing everything and everybody. So I was just like, yeah, but I don't know. Like, you know, like, I don't know. So anyway, at this point, we just like on the couch, just like kissing and stuff, right? This bitch Toxic comes out the room, cuts the light on, and was like, what are y'all doing? So I'm like, girl, get out. So he like, get the fuck out. Like, get out. And she was just like, what are y'all doing? Y'all better not be doing nothing because y'all don't got nothing to be doing nothing with. So y'all better not be doing anything. I know that's what y'all shouldn't be doing. And I'm just like, girl, get out. Get out. So then while her boyfriend ended up coming out, he ended up coming out the room with some basketball shorts on. And he like, oh, we got one condom left, bro, if you want to use it. And he was like, oh, yeah, let me get that, bro. Let me get that. And I'm just like, So he gave it to him or whatever. He's like, good looking out, good looking out. She's like, that was for us. That was for us. And he was like, girl, we already did it without it, so it don't matter. We just did it without one just a minute ago. I was like, but that was for us. Like, they don't need to use none anyway. She don't even like to do it with him. Yo, and I'm just like, no, she didn't. Because mind you, I never told him this. So I'm just thinking like, why would she put me on blast? Like, what the fuck? So she like, she don't even like to do it with him. She don't even like to do it with him. She don't even know how to have... It got quiet. It got so quiet. Like, it was just an awkward quiet. So then finally Joe was like, Toxic, go back in the room. Like, go back in the room. And I'm like, just sitting there embarrassed. Embarrassed. Because I'm just like, why would she say that? I know he could tell because I know he looked at me and seen me crying before. But, you know, I'm just kidding. But I'm like, why would she say that? Like, why would she say that? So then finally... the grown man, he just thought it was so funny. He started laughing. He just was laughing. And he was like, come on, Toxic, let's go back. She's like, I'm just saying, like, Symone, stop trying to be grown. You don't even like to do it. So I'm like, girl, what the fuck is wrong with you? I was just like, what is wrong with you? And she's like, what do you mean? What is wrong with me? Like, what do you mean? And I was just like, girl, just go. Like, go back in the room. I'm like, here you go with this shit. She's like, I'm not saying it no type of way. I'm just saying, like, don't force yourself to do something you don't want to do. You don't want to do it. Like, y'all don't need to do anything. And I was just like... y'all, when I say it was just like embarrassment. So he like, come on, let's go back in the room. Let's go back in the room. And so she ended up going back in the room, right? And next thing you know, I'm like, we in there and he just like talking to me. He was like, yeah, so is that how you feel? And I was just like, well, you know, like, I just feel like we don't, like, I hear people talk about foreplay, you know, like, I don't know. I'm just like, you know, so maybe that. Would you try? And it was horrible. He used teeth. So I'm just like, I should never suggested that. But anyway, I was so annoyed. This girl's texting me like, I don't want you to do it. Like, she seems so like mad. It didn't seem like she was really like worried about me. Like, oh, I don't want my friend to do something she don't want to do. It was more like you didn't want me to do it because like on some weird type shit. Like, I don't know, I was just feeling weird about it. Even when I was saying it to my best friend, she like, I feel like she didn't want you to do it because she wanted to do it with him. And I was just like, I don't know, it was just weird. It was just so weird. Like, it was so weird. But she didn't end up coming back out the room because he ended up keeping her in there. But I was so annoyed. Like, the next day, he didn't even give none of us a ride home, y'all. We had to catch the bus because he said he had stuff to do. And y'all, oh my God. Come to find out, he had a whole baby mama and stuff like that. And he made us leave out that house so damn early. We on the bus looking crazy early in the morning. And I'm over here on the bus like this, like my head to the window. And I was so annoyed. Like, we sat in the back of the bus because when we first walked in, she walked in first. She sat down. And I was like, nope, come on. Like, we going way to the back. So she kept trying to move closer and closer to us. And she's like, Symone, what's wrong? Like, what's wrong, Symone? And I was like, I'm not fucking with you. Like, you're weird. Like, you're a weirdo. And mind you, she had already had told Joe about my other boyfriend, which I didn't know about this time. But anyway, I was just thinking, like, this girl's so weird. Like, you're such a weirdo because... what was your reason? Like, what was your reason for doing all of that yesterday? Like, you was being so weird. And then when I had asked her about it, I was just like, you're weird, because I didn't talk to her. Like, I went home. When I did go home, I did not talk to her. I was just like, I'm cool. So she was reaching out to me, and she was just like, oh, I just didn't want you to end up pregnant by him or stuff like that. Mind you, you the same that used to be like, I want to have his baby because I know I would give him a better looking baby than his baby mama. You want to have that old man baby, but you was worried about me becoming a teen mom. And it wasn't even that, y'all. Like, I wasn't finna be a teen mom. I was scared as hell as my mom. I was so scared. I thought she would have offed me. Y'all, I was not finna do that. But it was just the fact that it's like, girl, it wasn't that. It's, you was pressing me and doing the most that night when you knew I wasn't for sure gonna do anything because I was scared or whatever and wasn't ready. You was pressing me. You was trying to do the most because you knew. You was trying to make me the joke, you know, whatever. But the night when you knew that I was, even though I didn't want to either, but you knew I was, you didn't want me to, because now I see why. Because y'all had your own little things going on behind closed doors, so you didn't want to see that going down. Like, because even when eventually when I told her, like when we end up like putting it past us and I told her like, girl, he tried to eat it and he used teeth, and she was just so mad. Like, she was mad, like mad at him. Like, not the fact that he used teeth and he bit me, but she was so mad. Like, why would he do that? That's so nasty. But mind you, you talking about how you and your man getting down like this. Like, I was just so confused. Like, girl, it's just so weird. Like, it was just so much stuff that I should have paid attention to the signs, but I didn't because I'm a dummy. I'm just kidding. No, for real, back then I was just too naive. Like, I was too nice and just not thinking people would do me like that. But anyway, that's the end of this story time. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I love you guys so much, and follow me on all my Instagram social medias in the description box. I'll see you guys next time.